This video is not sponsored and has no adverts. Hello and thanks for joining me for some more photography. Now, you may recall a couple of videos ago I mentioned that with my channel going forwards I'd be making fewer videos where I go out and film an entire photography session. Rather, what I'd be doing is when I'm out and about, if I see an interesting photograph, I'll make a bit of video to show you what I'm up to. And then when I've got enough of them, I'll stitch them together and release it on my channel. Well, I've got a few images together for about a 10-12 minute video, something like that. So here I am with the first in that series. Now, I've been racking my brains as to what to call it. Because if you think about it, when you put a video out and you've been somewhere or it's got a particular topic, well, that's the title of the video and that's the thumbnail. And I thought, well, how do I describe these? So all I could come up with is that since it's a cobbling together of images that I capture when I'm out and about, I'll just call it out and about and put a number on the end. So this is my out and about photography and stuff video 1. As I've said before, I will still go out and film entire sessions. It's just that I can't get out often enough to keep the channel going. So I do quite a bit of photography in between making videos. So I'll just video those individual images, and I've got a few to share with you here. And the first couple are from a dog walk that I did about a week ago, out early morning on the sand dunes at Aberfrau. I'm just down in the sand dunes at Aberfrau on my way down to the beach with Winnie the Pooch, standard Saturday morning dog walk. But because I can travel quite light, and I mentioned this tripod in my last video, it's no effort to bring it out even when I'm just out for a gentle stroll. And I'm in the same position as I was this time last week as the sun was coming up. Here's the image I took last week. That was handheld and I didn't have you with me at the time. Conditions not too dissimilar this week, slightly less haze. But what I really like about this particular view across to where the sun rises at this time of year, which is early September, you get the light kind of dancing off the midground. There's some nice diagonals. All of this lovely foreground grasses and ragwort gets all backlit. So I've kind of been here for about 20 minutes. To be fair, Winnie the Pooch has been very patient because she's desperate to get down for a swim. Very straightforward. I'm shooting at f7.1. I've got my 35-100 Lumix lens on, shooting this at 35. Quite straightforward exposure wise. Of course, I'm shooting straight into the sun, so I'm going to exposure blend it. So I've taken one shot for the sun, and even though I have got a 0.9 soft grad on, I am taking another exposure for the foreground here. These backlit grasses are lovely. Let's just get another shot of that. There isn't a focal point. It's all about the sunrise and the lighting on the foreground for me. But we'll see, and let's head on down to the beach now. I don't know whether there'll be anything down there, whether you'll be joining me at that point, but lovely morning and great to be out with a camera and a dog. So we're down at a really low spring tide. It's just turned and is starting to flood, which means that it's isolating this beautiful rocky outcrop, which isn't available for photography very often, but I love the crescent shape of it. And now that the sun is up a little way, I'm getting the flank of it beautifully lit. Now, part of the problem I've got here, well, there's two problems. One is, because the sun's immediately behind me, my own shadow is in this shot. I'm shooting at 9mm with a Leica Prime, but it wouldn't really be much of a shot except for one thing. There's the most beautiful cloud. I don't know if you can see it on this shot, and it's just sat there, perfectly positioned to complement the location of the rock. It's really nice because it's completely isolated. I've got water in a little lagoon in front of the rock as well. In fact, I need to think about getting out of here because the tide's coming in fast. The problem I've had is waiting for Winnie the Pooch to get out of the shot. Normally, landscape photography is a waiting game for other reasons. You want another snack? Is that what you're after? Yeah, that's all you're having? You just get the one. Now get out of my shot. Yeah, very simple exposure, nothing too fancy, polarized, 3-stop ND grad, so that I can just lift the exposure on the foreground, make sure I get lots of lovely detail in this amazing seaweed. I did get lucky here a few weeks ago with the sky complementing this rock, and I'll show you that image, but I actually prefer this. It's such a tranquil spot that the way it looks to me this morning is more engaging, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I'm having to hit the shutter button and get out of the shot as quick as I can, otherwise my shadow would be in the foreground. Well, I hope you enjoyed those images and felt that they were worth me videoing, sharing with you. I'll be honest, I quite like them, and I'm my own harshest critic. They also serve to illustrate how it's worth carrying a bit of camera gear with you if you're a keen photographer, because you just never know what you're going to see. And there's plenty of times when I go out with a camera and it doesn't come out of the bag. But when that light is good, or the conditions are good, or there's something going on and interesting, it's nice to be able to grab a shot or two. Now, completely coincidentally, later that same day, I was out on my bike just for a ride. It turned out that it was well worth carrying my camera gear with me. So we're a bit later in the day, a couple of miles down the coast from where I was this morning. I hadn't intended to do any photography, but because I'm out on the bike, I've got all my clobber with me anyway. I'd been for a ride, and this is a sort of stopping off point. We're just overlooking the estuary at Maltraeth, and it's now high water, well, just dropping off high water. And what caught my eye was some really interesting cloud textures blowing in and some sunbeams, and I just thought, oh, that's worth a photograph. So I got myself set up. And what I'm really liking about this is how the cloud shapes are sort of mirroring the shapes of the estuary and the little outcrops and islands that appear as the tide is only just starting to drop off from high water. So not a difficult shot, if I'm honest. It's really just a case of being careful with the exposure, because it's easy to clip the sky. It doesn't look that bright, but the brighter areas, and bearing in mind we're early afternoon, so the sun's still pretty high, even at this time of year. So got to be careful of clipping, but I think there might be an image in this one, so I thought I'd share it with you. I love setting up a composition and then just letting elements within the composition change. The only thing I'm missing this afternoon is an ice cream. This particular route doesn't include any, unfortunately. Well, that was a very pleasant 20 minutes or so. The clouds are starting to break up a bit and sun's coming back through, so had the best of it, which was kind of lucky that it went like that just as I was arriving at Maltraeth, because it's been a beautiful sunny afternoon, which is why I hadn't anticipated any photography. Although, to be fair, I can totally recommend this e-bike nonsense. I don't have to have a backpack, so I can bring all my gear with me, and if something does crop up, I'm fully kitted out. There might be something else in this video, who knows? We'll see what I see on the way back to the house. So I'll put that image up for you at the end to take a look at. But before I go, I just wanted to give a quick plug to my Facebook group. It's called Mostly Micro Four Thirds Landscape Photography. Got a couple of thousand members, but unlike a lot of other groups that I've been in myself, there's a really high level of engagement. So if you shoot Micro Four Thirds, it's really interesting. There's some really high quality photographers sharing their images on there. And if you don't shoot Micro Four Thirds, but you're interested in what you can achieve, quite apart from what you see on my channel, there's lots of other people posting some, as I said, really high quality work. So if you're interested, pop along and join us. Anyway, gonna leave it there for this one. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, why not subscribe and join me next time? Cheers.